Hey, Ghost Machine fans, this one's for you.
Welcome to the Ghost Machine Fans Podcast, episode 121. We greet you with a somber tone today as our favorite immortal's tale continues to be tumultuous and heart-wrenching. Simon Plum is officially back to being Simon Pure, and Benedict Arnold will show his true colors once again. I'm Snoggle, and as usual, I'm joined by my partner in crime, Nick. How you doing?
I'm going to inject as much positive energy, as much good feeling, catharsis, relief as I can into every moment of this podcast leading up to the deep dive itself as a healthy counterweight to the experience that we are all about to have. As I'm sure that many of you who are regular Redcoat readers know, it's a challenging time for story arcs when it comes to Mr. Simon Pure right now.
Yeah, it is. But at least here where we live, I guess some positive news is it's getting cold at night again.
And by cold, we mean not 80 degrees.
Yeah, not 80 to 100.
No more scorching days in Cincinnati, but would love to shout out a scorching artist out there on
what you did there.
Interwebs, and a new friend of ours. So, as everybody knows, the Radioactive Revolution contest is still going on, and you can submit your entries for that until, I believe, the 7th of September. And we have received a lot of very cool stories. They're only stories, and they're like previews of pages by Stephen DiFendini. And also his handle on Instagram is his name is spelled out, and that's Stephen with a V, so Steven DiFendini. D is in dog, E is in elephant, F is in Frank, E is in elephant, Ndini. And you can find him on Instagram. He's got a lot of followers. Looks like he's a pretty cool artist that attends a lot of cons and has some of his own booths. And he's intermittently been sending over original art that's, colored all the way done various things. Like there was something from Rook Exodus, there was like something from Geiger, and we've seen it because I believe his intent is to submit several things to the Radioactive Revolution contest. So thanks a lot for putting that out there, Stephen. Excited about your art. It's really amazing looking when I take a look at your Instagram, and I encourage everyone else to do so as well.
Yeah, it's awesome. It runs, you said, till September 7th, right?
I believe so.
Yeah.
But enough about our new friend DiFendini, because Snoggle is back in the newsroom.
So today is Wednesday, August 26th, and the McFarlane Geiger Elite action figure goes out for pre-order with select retailers in 2 days. We are also in the middle of a giveaway, which who doesn't love free stuff? That's right, Ghost Machine fans. If you head on over to our Instagram, you'll see a post with all the details.
That giveaway is a big one. It's a Sisterhood, a Hyde Street story, trade paperback signed by Maytal Zahoot. Very exciting stuff. And that's going on until a day or two after this episode airs. So if you listen to it in the future, make sure to check out our Instagram for future giveaways. We do stuff like that all the time. But we're talking about the world of the unnamed today. Feels like we haven't been there as much for a little bit. We've been talking about the Unbelievables summer crossover quite a bit. And it's time to dive back in. But to do that, we have to talk about the 3 covers that were available to you when you went and picked up your copy of Redcoat number 19, which came out just a week ago on August 19th.
The A cover really it's a beautiful art, but it is a bloody, miserable wraparound cover. That's how I would describe it.
I feel as though that's a double entendre because Simon is British, Brian Hitch is British, and it's a bloody wraparound cover, right? But it's also very actually bloody. Yes. So when you just see this cover by Brian Hitch and Brad Anderson, another wraparound cover, Brian's nothing if not incredibly consistent. Without having read it, what is your thought about this face that Simon has of absolute pain or whatever, and the blood on his hands?
You can't trust 100% what's going to happen from the cover. You know, like emotionally, I think something bad is going to happen. But personally, I try to keep some hope that it's some sort of metaphor. You know, recall when we had that cover with Geiger holding Barney, and it was somewhat alluding to Barney passing away. And then that didn't happen. So, you know, I went through a mixture of emotions. Like, maybe he got into a bloody battle. Maybe this is just supposed to look cool. But it's a mixture. Obviously, it looks like something really bad is about to happen.
Well, we know that these covers are somewhat interpretive because we've had occasional instances where what's on the covers isn't what happens in the issue. That's really common in comics. And, you know, for instance, we haven't seen, not going to spoil anything about this very happy issue of Redcoat, but we haven't seen the scene that we saw on a previous wraparound of Benedict doing magical stuff and holding all of the family members up with blue energy. We haven't actually seen that. And so maybe that's coming later, but I feel as though sometimes the covers are more interpretive, and I'm cool with that. And in this case, I don't know. He looks so unhappy that it didn't occur to me, whose blood is that? I kind of assumed it was his because he's always like in trouble, or like it was him being severely wounded, but don't think that's the case.
I mean, I can't spoil anything yet, but it's rough.
Well, here's a diversion for you. How about Redcoat and Tombstone in cover B?
Yeah, that I like this. I like the sunset in the back with the purplish sky. It's just very cool looking. Who did this one?
This is a B cover by Christian Alamy and Maury Hollowell, who we've seen before.
I love it.
And I don't know that it is definitively Tombstone or Wyatt and Doc and whatnot, but there's a few folks walking with Simon in the Old West that look like that, and it is cool. I would totally be down for some Simon pure Old West stories, that's for sure.
Oh, 100%. Didn't we already get one with the one family?
Oh, the crazy people?
Yeah.
The murderers? Yeah, for sure. And he's got a revolver in one hand and a bottle of liquor, presumably, in the other. So this final cover, though, this is a triumph from Mr. Hitch. Dude did 2 wraparounds. He's been doing wraparounds for the guidebooks. His drawing hand is going to fall off soon. But this 250 cover was really cool. It's really cool on multiple levels to me because it has a bunch of Redcoat characters, but it also has just significant characters from American history in general. Like, we haven't seen, I guess Dr. King has been referenced because of the Northerner alternate timeline thing. But there's also, I think it's like Neil Armstrong or Buzz Aldrin in the bottom right.
Yeah, I can't tell which man that is, but it's got to be one of them.
Right. Yeah. And then there's somebody I think looks like John Henry in the middle with the big hammer. What's the guy that is with Babe, the big blue ox? Who's that? Paul Bunyan. That's the guy, Paul Bunyan. Davy Crockett, who we know is going to be there and be a monster hunter, as Brian has mentioned to us on some episodes. So really awesome cover.
By the way, I'm 98% certain that is Neil Armstrong.
98. Well, he's kind of a one that people say the first, right? Like they say his name first.
It matters.
Yeah. Well, but I think that when
if you ain't first, you last.
I think it like typically when you just talk about them, the people say Neil Armstrong and Buzz Aldrin and then Jim Lovell, right? Love this cover. Super cool. Gary did a 250 anniversary cover too on Geiger. That was awesome. I just really like that they did these.
Yeah, I agree.
Great looking issue, which makes this your official spoiler pause for Redcoat number 19.
So, you know how sometimes when you're driving, and I know this can't just be me, you'll put on a sad song and just like really get a good cry. You know, you're on your way to work and it's like, maybe I should listen to insert sad song here. That's what this episode is about to be.
A sad song in the car.
A sad song in the car. We will be as uplifting as we possibly can.
What we want to do is we want to point out the fact that going into this as a reader, you do ironically feel like there's something really bad coming. And it's because there's been lots of hints at that. Even if you don't pay attention to like the social media and the previews and stuff, if you've just been reading these issues, it's like, why trust Benedict Arnold? Einstein is worried about him, foreshadowing for doom, badness. Mm-hmm. And so you're concerned. We walk into this issue feeling like there's something really bad is going to happen because we see Simon's wife and daughter and son going to a train station, talking about leaving and going to Philadelphia to be with her sister for a while.
Yeah.
And his 3-year-old son says there's no family without daddy. And this is something Jeff does to readers quite a bit in that he leads you in odd direction very convincingly to make then that different direction have that much more gravitas. And so we go from here to what, Snoggle? Like, this is an unhappy panel. This is a one-pager.
My name is Simon Pure, not Plum. That was a lie, all of it. And you just, Simon's sitting in a chair. I do really, really love the fact that it's obvious, even though it's daytime, because the light is filtering into the room he's in. He is sitting in darkness. So that's just, I lost my family. I am depressed. It doesn't matter what time of day it is. I will be sitting in the dark. Sad, sad, sad. And, I think he's truly just feeling his feelings. It does kind of make me happy, by the way, because I think when we would see the old Simon being upset, he would be drinking.
I imagine he'll land there. But this is right after he read the note.
Yeah.
And so as readers, we're feeling for him. We've seen him in the future. We've seen him in the past. We've seen him come about. We've seen him make so many horrible mistakes at this point that we feel a great deal of empathy because we're like, man, he finally had it. And like, he's losing it because she's just mad. Basically, like they could maybe work this out, even if they shouldn't trust Benedict, even if Einstein's right. Like, but wait, like, don't let the reason be just that he didn't. What was he supposed to do? Like, it's not like sometimes when you say, oh yeah, that's what you chose to keep those secrets, buddy. In this case, it's like, what would you do? How would someone, especially back then, like this is like something out of H.G. Wells or something crazy. This isn't like nowadays where people talk about this stuff and you'd like try to wrap your head around it. And so trying to explain that to her, it makes sense why like he changed. He went and wore a different coat, changed his name and got a job. And so we're hurting with Simon right now. We are hurting,
Yeah.
right? And Albert's hurting because he comes back and he finds them.
I love that, like, the whole time he's trying to tell him something too, by the way. And you can tell I like the storytelling here, because if you just lost your family and then you also think something crazy is going on with Benedict, who at this point you're thinking you have to save, like, he's rambling. He's just like, oh, but then we got to do this. And what about this? And what about, like putting together a puzzle and thinking about like all the things that he needs to do. And then at the end, just crashing into Albert. Oh God, I've lost them. I always knew I would. And he just like hugs him. And I question for you. Do you think, I can't recall if I've ever seen them hug.
I don't
Maybe I
know. I don't know. But it's the power of, a comic or even a film, because like this is the lowest it gets. He's trying to think of like how to go help this person that has wronged him a great deal in the past, and is very much of ill repute, probably doesn't gain the world anything by existing, and he just lost the best thing that's ever happened to him, and he's still like, all right, this was a clue, I got to figure that out. And then, as a reminder, Ghost Machine fans, the note did say something to the effect of like, if you care, come find us. And
Yes,
so
yes.
she still was kind of like, well, if you leave all that, you can come over here, kind of thing. And that was like, well, there's no internet, lady. Like, you could at least give him a hint. Come on. But anyways, maybe he would know, go to Philadelphia because of her sister or whatever. So it's really unexpected to turn this page and see them come back.
And the first thing you see, and particularly as a parent, the whole daddy thing from his young one. Daddy.
Yeah. This is not what you expect. You're expecting the relationship to dissolve, and then maybe something happens from here, or you're thinking, well, wait a minute, what about that cover where Benedict had all of them in like that magical grasp or ritual or whatever? But when you see that, and essentially they all embrace, and Margaret, his wife, she says, I don't understand any of this, Simon, but the children love you. I love you. And he says, I love you too. And it's like, well, yeah, man, that's probably what human people would do. And one of the reasons I really love that is, in so much storytelling, a breakup like this is a MacGuffin because it's convenient for the next step. And instead, this is probably more like what a person would do.
And I mean, you turn the page, whatever this is, we face this together. Do you hear me? And those two panels, by the way, are drawn so well, because you can just see the emotion there. The little bit of the tear coming out of the corner of her eye, the lighting, the look on his face, even so subtle, like very, very, very lovingly. Like, those two love each other.
And it makes the reader feel like it's going to be okay.
Yeah. And then, we're with you, Simon. And then Albert's with the kids.
And that's the thing. That's the scene that, to me, is there to really emphasize to us that it's going to be okay. And I'm not being, I know I've made, some tongue-in-cheek comments, but I'm not here at all. And I'm saying that Albert, with the two of them, the children like on his lap, or the one on his lap, the other next to him, that panel is meant to say to us, all right, it's going to be okay.
Yeah.
Wow. Like they're okay. And we can feel it. And it's so okay that his new family is going to embrace him to such an extent that his 3-year-old son is now going to go pick that red coat up off the floor, and Margaret is going to put it on him, at which point he feels acceptance, quote unquote, for something new from her, and something rarely from anyone that he knows in the world.
Mm-hmm.
And it's almost like they're looking up at the coat in admiration.
Yeah.
It's a positive thing.
And it really, like, as he leaves and we get into these the next scene where he's walking with Albert and they're kind of talking about where they're going to go and where they think that he is. I mean, look at how much that red coat stands out. It's like, I am myself again. Like, he's a new guy, but he is standing out in this street in that coat.
That's a good point. And the characters make comments about it because he goes past the lady that he sees every day that sells flowers, and she makes a comment about how fine it is.
Yeah.
He has a very much like Ebenezer Scrooge waking up after the last ghost did not kill him vibe right now.
He wants her to keep all 6 dozen of the roses for when he comes back, and then 1 dozen of those roses he's going to give to her. You just see him like rushing down the street, and she goes, "You're a good man."
And they're rushing to his tailor shop where he's like open enough with his boss to be like, yeah, I am more than what you thought. I got this crazy coat. I need a gun. Do you have a gun? And he gives him a gun. And
he says, "I trust you, by the way." I just, we're going to go over this later, but she's tears in her eyes, loves this man. Like, you're a good man. And now his boss, who helped him turn around his life, says, "I trust you, Simon."
Yes, it's like every character interaction, it reinforces that this is the top. This is the best he's ever been. Yeah. And it's going to be okay. Yeah. Is the way that it feels to me.
100%. And I will say, so everybody listening right now already knows what's about to happen. What I will say is, I don't feel like if you didn't know the ending, this is like a foreboding way of telling a story. Like, he could just be like, the boys are back in town. Like, I've got my coat. I'm going to go get Benedict. We're going to, avenge something.
At the end, because I don't want to derail us, remind me to tell you my alternate universe idea of alternate universe Family Man Simon.
Okay.
So you're right. Well, keep in mind, Ghost Machine fans, the irony is they're going out and talking about how they're going to go help save Benedict. They think some of the words that Benedict used when he was being captured was like clues or whatever to tell them where to find him. And so they go get a gun, and then they go to this place, the old courthouse, or the building that they've been talking about. And they break in, and there's a short version. There's nobody there. We do get a really cool 1-page splash of Simon jumping through the window, which was reminiscent to that early, I think like the first issue of Redcoat when he jumped through a window. Remember that? Mm-hmm. Oh, that was cool.
Early on, yeah.
They do some great positioning in here. They kicks open the windows. It's like I can feel the motion and I can feel the silence. Like there's nothing in there. And it's funny because he's like, "Mr. Pure, I heard banging and crashing." And he's like, "Well, how'd you get in?" He's like, "I used my lockpick." What do you mean?
Yeah, like, come on now.
We didn't have to be really loud.
Now, one thing I'm going to say is it was like, no one's here. They could have already been here. And I honestly, in this line of like, well, if Benedict isn't here, where else could he be? Like, he had to have sent us here for a reason. I am telling you, in my actual heart of hearts, I was like, he wants him to go there because there's something he needs to find to help save him.
Yeah, right?
Yes. I hope there's a listener, a fan out there who felt the same as me.
I didn't think the badness was coming. That's why they did such a good job. So we're going to get to it in a minute, but I agree that at this point, I was excited for Simon. I was still excited for Simon.
Yeah.
So let's just keep it at that. And so then it's really neat. I don't know who would be responsible for like making the panel look like it shook like an earthquake when the bomb goes off, but that's pretty cool. Even the way that Rob does the the letters, it kind of makes it look like an earthquake, and they
Yeah.
have that cool little like superimposed shadowy thing behind stuff. And
Do you want to know something funny about that panel? Until you just said that, when I was initially reading it, because my eyesight is so bad, I just thought I was like having a moment.
no, it's funny. And he said it felt like a bomb. Then from down the street, we see like a plume of smoke and fire. And then this amazing 2-page splash of Simon running back to the tailor's shop, which is on fire, with one of those old school fire trucks where like people are pumping stuff and doing stuff with steam coming out the top, out front. Everyone's looking on.
And then there's just, they see that blue shiny light.
Were you going to say
fire or whatever?
Like a sigil.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And it's the symbol of the founding fathers. So he acknowledges he's worried about Mr. Sullivan. So an onlooker says basically everybody has died in the fire already. And Albert notices the symbol of the founding fathers is emblazoned in blue flame on the wall of the building. And that prompts Simon to run.
As he's running, by the way, you can tell it's dusk too, which puts another eeriness to this. Like the sun is setting on this chapter of his life, by the way, because, as he's running, Albert's still calling after him. And he runs, and he's obviously running on his way home. And that is when Ginny is there on the street.
Such subtlety, 3 panels. Her on the ground with police above her. Simon looking on with one of those police and off panel saying, Ginny never hurt a soul. Off panel, he then says, while Simon's walking away with the roses at his feet, they used her own shears to tell us Ginny was murdered by someone who killed her with her own pruning shears.
And he's running. And we already know it's bad. We turn the page, Maggie, and then Maggie very, very loudly. And all I'm going to say is the way that the emotion was drawn on his face shows immediate devastation.
So this part's like really difficult because he returns home and his entire family has been killed. And Jeff did a really good job. Brian did a really good job of making you think that wasn't going to happen anymore.
Yeah.
Or at least not like this,
And one thing I am really going to say, by the way, I really appreciate the subtlety that they did not show the kids in entirety.
I hear you there. I'll be honest with you. I can't. Brian is such an amazing artist that I cannot look at even the panels where it shows part of them.
I know.
And that is a 100% compliment to Brian, but I can't do that. Like literally, I was like, oh my God, no, never mind. I just had to keep going.
Well, and just this panel with Simon hand over his mouth and says, and my babies. That is one masterfully drawn, colored, etc. But storytelling right there, my heart is breaking for this man. And I'm also at the same time really mad. My heart broke for him, and then I was angry for him. Like I wanted vengeance for him. But I know genuinely you have to think about what just happened. His family came back and they said, you are our home. We are with you. And then he goes and sees the flower lady and she's like, you're a good man. And then his boss is like, I trust you. And it's about to be real bad because all these people who he loved and who he trusted, he is going to blame himself that whatever happened to all these people is his fault.
And the next turn is Benedict walking into the frame and we know it's Benedict because we see his blue pants. And then we see a silhouette view from behind him where we just see his hand holding the axe of lies. And Rob Lee has told us in the past that Brian tones down the sound effect stuff a bit.
Mm-hmm.
But I can still hear the slow walk of Benedict into the frame.
Mm-hmm.
And there's this kind of, it just makes me feel like Hyde Street. I know that doesn't have anything to do with this and that Yvonne is not here, but when we get this full page spread, single page spread of Albert, half in the dark, he says, "I'm sorry, Simon, but it's just who I am, you see."
And he looks psychotic. I've never hated a man more.
He looks psychotic, but then it really makes you think like, man, that would be one heck of a part. Somebody to play that part. Like if you pick the right person to play that part, that would be incredible. After seeing this, this kind of a scene, like if they could say that the right way, it makes me kind of think of Patrick Bateman. You know who that is?
I'm really offended that you would ask me if I knew who Patrick Bateman is. But you know what actor I think would do really good at that?
Who?
James McAvoy.
Oh, because you're thinking of that crazy movie he did, right? Where he was all the personalities.
Okay, but like even I'm going to put it up here and obviously no one can see this man's face, but I think he could even really look like Benedict. And he is really good at playing crazy. Like obviously he was Professor X. Thank you, James. Yeah. He has range.
Yeah, he was a good young Professor X. So I want to take a second with this issue now having passed and what has happened to Simon has happened before we read this listener mail, which is related to this. I actually saved it for this. It was like what came before the last one we got. I truly feel that this type of storytelling, both from the writing and the visual aspect, sets itself apart from the rest of what the industry is doing right now. And understand, Ghost Machine fans, that obviously I'm the most biased person, right? But my pull list consists of 5 different Spawn ongoing titles, 3 different Energon ongoing titles, 2 different Top Cow ongoing titles, every DC Absolute title, every Conan book that Titan puts out, and everything Mike Mignola touches, and a lot others here and there in between. And I read them all. That's all current comics on my pull list. And then obviously I have Ghost Machine. And I love to read all those comics. And I read a whole lot of comics. But this is more than that. The visceral reaction that I had to this issue makes the way that Redcoat 7 felt like, it's like way toned down. And that was when Albert died. Spoilers. Yeah. And I'm just saying, like,
if we're spoiling that at this point, you're in trouble, Ghost Machine fans.
But this is when we've talked about how sometimes the characters can become bigger than the creators. I didn't read through this at first and just feel like, man, Jeff got me again. He did, but that's not how I felt. I felt for Simon. I felt for a fictional human being. When Peter Snayberg was on the show talking about the way that Zach and Rose are changing and becoming real people that he cares about, that's the way that I felt about Simon in this issue.
Yeah.
And I empathized with him. I wanted to cry. I couldn't look at panels where things were happening to his family that I can't even focus enough to think about. It would be so horrible. And it's topped off with this absolute perfect villainy on the last page. And I just think that obviously anybody listening to this reads these comics. Tell anyone who's not what is going on with this type of thing. It's another level of enjoyment. And Everybody's got to know, man, because we're in a renaissance of independent comic books that are all dang good. And there's even new stuff coming out all the time that's good. Lost Fantasy's amazing. Fireborn's amazing, you know? But nothing is like this. Nothing is of this caliber. Nothing delivers at this level. Nothing shows this much planning and forethought at all, bar none. So thank you for breaking my heart, Brian, Jeff, Brad, and Rob. You did a great job.
But I hope next episode, Simon Pure kicks that dude's ass.
But we're not done yet, Ghost Machine fans, because we have a listener mail came in before this issue came out, but it's really pertinent to this issue. So we saved it and we swapped it with the last one. Would you like to read this fantastic mail, Snoggle?
Sure. So our fantastic mail is from Lattice Work, or Lattice. Lattice Work. And they said, I know we haven't seen the end of this arc yet, but things are looking bad for Simon. If Redcoat has suffered so much pain and misery in his life, why doesn't he just row a boat to the middle of the ocean until he turns to dust?
What do you think?
I don't know how scientific this is, but I mean, that would mean he's killing himself, right? So no matter how long he's been around, and while this man is sad, I think, I just don't think that's him.
That's a really good answer. I was thinking that he would possibly be too cowardly to do that unless put through like true duress. But I don't know what would be more than what he just went through.
I would be a broken human being if I had to experience what he experienced. Like if I lost you and Bruce in that way, I would break. I would not be able to move forward.
Well, we do know that that's not what happens though, right?
Exactly.
Like we have the benefit of knowing that he lives for hundreds of more years.
Yes. And to bring some light to this answer as well, that would be a really boring book.
Yeah, that's the best answer, right? Like who wants to read that?
That's how it ends. You just rows out to, unless he went off the Pacific and he just didn't understand geography and then he ended up in Hawaii and somehow that still counted as the United States.
That's funny.
Or he ended up in Alaska and he's like, dang it.
I think that is a good question. I think, yes, it wouldn't be a good story. And he's been around for a long time. So he must want to at least keep taking advantage of immortality, because we do know that he does revert a bit after this. Like he gets, I don't think he stays like the good guy that he is, at least in the way that we saw him acting around his family in perpetuity. And I just think that that's why there's probably, if there's a multiverse out there where Benedict did not do this, where like Benedict didn't come back or whatever, like maybe that's all it is. Like, or because a sea turtle didn't knock into a dock that bumped over a thing that moved enough so that Benedict Arnold could get out after 20 years. He just stays stuck down there. And so because of that, Simon becomes a family man. He finds a way to turn his family into immortals too. They turn into an immortal family super team, and nothing ever negative happens in that world of the unnamed at all.
Yeah.
That's a good question though. I think that he doesn't seem like your answer of he doesn't seem like the type of person to just do that. He seems more like someone who would dwell on the bad and like painfully torture himself over it for ages, but not someone who would unalive. Because he would have to like take a rowboat and go out there. Or I could see him like rowing out there and then there'd be some like spirit or entity that's connected to the magic of the Founding Fathers popping up and being like, dude, this is not the thing. And you need to go back. But I don't think that it doesn't seem very Ghost Machine-y to me.
Yeah, agreed.
But thank you for the fantastic mail, Lattice Work. And if you would like to be like them and send us a question, a heckle, a thought, a comment, you can do so by emailing ghostmachinefans@gmail.com. And if you'd like to check out all of our other content, you can visit www.ghostmachinefans.com, where you'll find our social media platforms and the link to the Discord, where we would love for you to join the conversation. It's on our Instagram in the bio links and on the Ghost Machine Comics Reddit in the announcements.
And thanks so much for joining us tonight on the Ghost Machine Fans Podcast.
Simon gonna get Benedict's podcast.